Let's move on to some Quranic guidance to begin. Bismillah. Right, people, speaking of the power of choice, an amazing verse from Surah Abasa. Okay, and you've got this right here that Thumma Sabila Yassara. And then the path he made easy for you, for them, for him, for her. Allah then made the path easy. When? After you'd taken the path. You have to take the path. ثُمَّ السَّبِيلَ يَسَّرَ. A person has to act on choice. You know, somebody asked me a question that I was discussing with some friends. In fact, I was having this discussion with a couple of weeks back with a good friend of mine, Shaban, and whose birthday it is. So happy birthday to him. Right now, we were speaking about free will and destiny and things like this. And he was asking that, look, well, because there's many scientists who are hard determinists today, that everything has been determined. And I said, well, I understand that. But so he was saying, well, because everything could be primed and things could be genetically encoded, and they will say everything, even the fact that I have this particular mug right here, placed here in that way, everything is primed, they will argue. And I said, that's to me a tough sell. I can't buy that. And we were kind of unpacking this. And I said, well, you see, I agree, but so let's say all these things happen, and they happen just by circumstance and happenstance. But I'm here today. I said there's many choices in life where something happened, something significant. You decided to talk to someone. You decided to call in for something. You decided to pop in some way. That very thing could have equally not happened. Because you see, when you made that choice, like let's say you are sitting somewhere and somebody's sitting there. Now true, it may be your genetic coding that allows you the confidence to talk to someone. That may be circumstances, and it may be that circumstances have brought you within such proximity, and your kind of your disposition is one that is an extrovert, and you like to talk and you like to, but you had that choice at that moment to not exercise it. You see, you could, like that, acting on that, you see, to act out that potential was clearly, that action stems from your will, your kind of choice to do it. Because yes, the whole DNA could have encoded you for that capacity and potential that I right now, like let's say somebody says, hey, I don't know, I see something saying, if you're interested in this particular job thing or this thing, call this number. And I'm the type of person that can do that. But for me to act out and do it in that moment where I could have equally just been, especially for what are coincidental moments. I don't mean things you've been building up for. So somebody builds up, goes into medical school, is building, or she's building to be a doctor. I get that. But things that happen per chance, and you have the potential, but you act out by following through, that is your doing. I feel that I don't know, to me, I get it that they would still argue against that because they're hard determinists, but I don't see, to me, that is the power of choice and following through with it. So, this second verse from Surah Talaq, interestingly, Allah says, لِيُنْفِقْ ذُو سَعَةٍ مِّن سَعَتِهِ, that somebody whom Allah has bestowed His blessings upon, him or her, let them give from that. وَمَنْ قُدِرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقُ فَلْيُنْفِقْ مِمَّا آتَاهُ اللَّهُ. And this is interesting because you may think, well, okay, what about somebody who doesn't have? It's easy. This person can give a lot of money, let's say, because they have money. This person can donate a lot of resources because they have resources to donate. This person can do this because they have that, but I don't have that. But Allah says, وَمَنْ قُدِرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقُهُ فَلْيُنْفِقْ مِمَّا آتَاهُ اللَّهُ. Let them give from what God has given them. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا ما آتاها. Allah does not burden a soul except with what it can accomplish. Now here, you see, maybe your thinking is off point. When you're thinking, yeah, this person can always give back to humanity because they've got money, they've got resources to do that, they've got whatever it is. But what فَلْيُنْفِقْ مِمَّا آتَاهُ اللَّهُ. But what about what God has given you? And you say, well, what has God given me? Empathy, compassion, time. You see, not everything has to be of monetary value. We all have been gifted in our own way. And I'll tell you the secret to always to barakah and growth in that is giving. Give of your time. You go to university, you study certain things, teach someone younger than you, help them out. Or if they're struggling, you know something, you have a skill, help someone. See, it's simply a choice, isn't it? Personally, well, why should I? See, I tell you, there is a counterintuitive algorithm at play in this cosmos and in this dunya. And that is that Allah places barakah and He gives exponentially and counterintuitively by you giving. See, the hadith says, take a step, divine assistance will come rushing. So I thought this is such an amazing verse to once again a reminder for all of us that سَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ بَعْدَ عُسْرٍ يُسْرًا. Allah will always place ease after difficulty. And this verse, the final verse to conclude with on this, إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلِ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا, from Surah Insan, verse 3. Now it's interesting, Allah says, we have guided them to the path. And you think, well, what path? You see, you've been guided and inspired to have the thought for good and bad, to help or to shun, or to forget help, the opposite, to make life difficult for people. You've been inspired, if that's not the right word, but you've been inspired with the intellectual acumen to be able to come up with that. Inna hadaynahu sabil. Allah's gifted you with the intellect. You want to be helpful, you want to be cruel, you want to be compassionate. The ideas, they've been gifted to you. Imma shakiran wa imma kafura. Allah. Now, I want us to just quickly focus on these two words. Right. Just check this out. Imma shakiran, either grateful. And the word that is used for grateful is shakir. It's the simple active participle fa'il, like katib, somebody that writes. Not shakur. It's not saying, which is an exaggerative form of highly grateful. No, just simply shakir. Just a slight amount of gratitude. Just be grateful. You don't have to, nobody's saying you have to become, I mean, sure, if you can, you don't have to become the next Mother Teresa. A simple gratitude. Shakiran. Imma shakiran. Look, the outcome. Allah is saying that a person can take this path. Imma shakiran. He can just be great. Doesn't have to be shakur. Sure, you can aim for that. But he doesn't have to be. Just be shakir. Just be grateful. Imma kafura. You see, kafur is on the excessive form. It's not kafir. See, shakir, kafir. Shakur, kafur. But Allah has contrasted it. When it comes to you giving back towards humanity, by extension, God, it's a small amount of gratitude. It goes a long way. But you see, this ingrateful attitude, it avalanches into something huge. Imma kafura. But the path is in front of you, and it comes down to a choice. One that could result in your life being something entirely different. Hum jahan pahunche, kamyab aaye. Allah. So people, I want to share that with us. Let's take a look.